to another episode of Posh Teacher, and I am honored to have Dr. Laverne Ford join us today. She has an amazing background. She has a PhD in education. She's been a principal, superintendent, and as quoted by the Washington Post, her famous selfie Sundays on Facebook, which we can't wait to talk about. So thank you so much for being on our program, Doctor.
Well, I'm delighted to be here and thank you for your invitation.
Well, first of all, what we always start off here at Posh Teacher is ask, what was your aha moment that got you into education, or if there was one?
Well, it was later down the line because I did not start out that way. My major at the University of Tulsa was in clinical psychology. And you could not do anything with clinical psychology degree unless you had a master's degree. So I knew I either had to go back to the university to get that master's degree or do something else. And fortunately, I had a very dear friend who was already teaching in Chicago who had sent me a note saying that they were hiring, they were in desperate need of teachers. And if you had a degree, a bachelor's of arts degree in anything, but with at least 12 hours in education, they would hire you. So on August the 28th, 1963, the day that Dr. Martin Luther King made his famous I Have a Dream speech, I was on a train from Tulsa, Oklahoma, going to Chicago to get a job. And they assigned me to a teacher of first grade at Julius C. Lathrop School on South Christiana.
Wow.
And I started teaching first grade. And they were so lovable and endearing that I just fell in love with them. And I stayed there and taught for a year. And then I came back to Tulsa because I was engaged to be married. But I could not teach still in Tulsa because I still did not have the elementary certification. So I had to take a job at the City of Tulsa Water Department in the utilities area and working my way back into the University of Tulsa to get that teacher certification. And I just went on from there.
Wow. So, Doctor, when you walked into that classroom with those first graders, what was the feeling like?
It was actually a nervous feeling because I knew that if I didn't do my very best, I could ruin those children's education for the rest of their lives, that I had to teach them how to read and compute and do everything possibly. So I stayed up literally almost sometimes night and day coming up with ways in order to make sure that they were educated well and that they could progress on to the second grade.
So the value of a first grade teacher is priceless. I mean,
It is.
that's where you're planting the seed for most of their future,
I
basically.
agree. I agree. And that's why you really have to be diligent. And for years, I've always said the teachers of first grade should be paid higher than anyone else because they set the foundation for them to be successful the rest of their school career.
Into that,
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to teach first grade just for 2 years when we had to move away for a while, and it definitely, you need the energy that you need every day. It is, you have to be energized, you have to be in a good mood and patient.
Absolutely.
Woo, those patients.
Absolutely. It's not anything like off again and on again. It's on 24/7.
You got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so really hats off. Well, let's talk about also that you mentioned growing up in your junior high years, you had an appreciation for a teacher uh, because of the way she dressed. I think you said
Yes.
made an impact. Tell me about that.
There were about 4 or 5 teachers at my junior high school, Carver Junior High at the time. And every day they would just come to school just looking so well put together. And they wore a lot of colors. And at that time, sweater skirts were very, very popular. And so the sweater would match the skirt and all these kinds of things. And I was just fascinated by all the colors and everything. So I thought, well, once I finished high school, went to college, and whatever I did, I was going to always present myself well because I just believe that when you look your best, you're going to do your best. And true enough, that turned out to be true. And especially as I was a teacher myself and also an assistant principal, I noticed when we had dress up days at school,
Yeah.
that was an easy day for teachers and administrators because the kids were going to act nice because they were looking nice and they were not going to fight or anything that day. So I knew dress has a lot to do with it. It doesn't matter what it is you have on, but just how it makes you feel.
Wow. So you literally observed that firsthand in the school, the difference between wearing your sweatpants or dressing up in your Sunday best.
Absolutely. And seeing I was brought up because I lived only a block from the church that we attended. And
Oh,
so we had clothes. I have an older sister, and we had clothes that were strictly only for Sunday. You put them on that morning, went to church, and as soon as you got home, you had to get out of those clothes, and you wouldn't see those clothes again until another Sunday because that
oh,
was your Sunday best, for you to look good, but also in reverence to God and going into the God's church, into the Lord's church, and that kind of thing. Yeah,
that's beautiful. So there's more meaning beyond, there's
absolutely.
meaning to
On
it.
how you look, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you said you had kind of a little process the night before that your mom trained you to have
Oh,
your clothes ready.
we'd have to get our things out. We'd have to get our clothes out, our shoes, and our socks, and everything we needed had to be ironed and pressed and ready and hanging on the door. So the following morning, after you've taken your shower or your bath, you just slip into it, and you were ready for church.
Oh
And
my,
so, and then when we did that for school, it was the same thing for school when we were growing up. We had to put our things out the night before because our parents didn't want us to be anxious or having the anxiety the following morning trying to decide, well, what am I going to wear today? They wanted us to go to school relaxed so we could focus on education and nothing more.
wow. Oh my gosh, that's a great discipline. And actually, I love when you talk about that when you became a teacher and you started to notice that the students were complimenting you and noticing what you wore. So, what did you decide to do with these compliments and this feedback?
Well, it was just a thing of that students love color and they love design and configuration. So I would just
Mm.
make sure that whatever I wore, whether to add maybe a scarf, I could have worn a plain basic black dress, but maybe
Oh,
I put a colorful jewelry or something because that would draw their attention to what was going on in the classroom. And it just kind of made them more relaxed and that I was a personal friend that really cared about them. And so we talked a lot about presenting yourself in a decent manner and the way you should present yourself as you move forward.
oh my gosh, I love the power of clothes. It's literally what is happening, how you explain it. I thought it was fascinating that you actually had a color coding system for your
I
work.
had
Tell
I
me about
started
this.
on the very first day that I started teaching. I thought, well, I was not going to wear the same thing twice in the same week or even in the same month. So I
Wow.
started with a calendar, and so every day I went to work. Then I wrote down what it was I had on, so I had a good rotation system. And I just kept it up throughout my career. And now, when I retired, I didn't do as much with it because I didn't have that many places to go. But on Sundays, I also kept a calendar as to what I wore each Sunday. And that's how I was able to go 52 Sundays during the year of the pandemic. So I wouldn't have to put on the same thing during those 52 Sundays.
52. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, we got to talk about this.
Okay.
Okay, so 52 makes me think your closet must not be this small.
Well, fortunate for me, I do have a three-bedroom home, and then I also have a hall closet in the first part of the house. So I would say three and a half closets are filled from the floor to the top with boxes and all those with hats in them. Yes.
No. Oh my gosh, that's fascinating. You need to do a video of it showing your wardrobe. Wow. Okay. So you have plenty of space, but you are famous and well known for your beautiful hats that I saw on the Washington Post. They are absolute works of art. First of all, where do you get your beautiful hats? Do you have them specially made or
Well, the first collection that I started really when I had gone to New Orleans. There's a millinery shop there. And when I passed by, I thought, oh, maybe I need to go in here and take a look. And then when I saw all of the beautiful hats, and she said, we can make you one. And so I started from there. And then as I was in education and would go to various conferences around the United States, one of my first things would be to go and shop in the mall or something, and I'd look for hats. And if I saw something that I liked, I would buy it and have it sent home. And so I have been collecting hats for 30 years plus or more.
So about how many hats do you have, Laverne?
Well, let's just say 52 for sure.
And a few other extras that
Right, just a few more.
and are they stored in like they have their own box? I mean,
Yeah, there was a company that had huge hat boxes where I could store at least maybe 3 or 4, depending upon the size, in each hat box. Now, some, of course, only one is in there because one of the ones you may have seen, the blue and white one with the kind of, it's very tall,
yes.
and it only has space for one. So yeah.
Oh my God, I would love to go play in your closet and try on
Just
your
look
hat.
at them.
Have you had friends or family that literally like, oh, let's go play and try on the hats?
Not really. In fact, my sister was saying the other day, because she doesn't go to the same church where I attend, she said, I really didn't realize you had that many hats until you started posting them on Facebook.
Really?
Right.
Well, so yes, let's talk about then when you became famous for your selfie Sundays. I love your attitude about how you approached being not able to go in person to church, and you said, I just don't want to show up to virtual church in my robe and
Right, right.
so what made you change your outfit and not want to show up to church like that?
I am a proponent of wellness and also self-help. And I figured in order for me not to become in a situation of despair or hopelessness or isolation, that I needed to do something. And since I am a Facebook junkie, and I have several friends on Facebook who also attended my church as well, I thought, well, I'll just give them something to look forward to. So I just started posting and saying to the members of Metropolitan Baptist Church, I am ready for the word. I hope you are too. And then that led to adding some additional commentary in reference to certain scriptures or other motivational texts that I could put with my picture as well. So I just didn't want it to be about me. I didn't want it to be me and my head and how I looked, but I wanted something of more significance and something of value to keep hope going for those of us who had been impacted and affected by COVID-19.
So basically you used your clothes as to help you create a mission to help people.
Yeah, just kind of get a little attention and then go ahead and do the missionary work that I was bound to get done and accomplished.
I love it. I love it. And I know you mentioned that, you boosted people's spirits, and people actually started to comment that you made their day. You literally touched lives. Were you expecting this?
I'm really surprised, Carla, with the amount of attention that one story locally has gotten internationally. And most of the comments have been about me being an inspiration and how I have inspired them, which has really made me feel good. And they have been sending me things. In fact, just the other day, this week, a company sent me a beautiful silk yellow suit with a lot of rhinestones on it, and also a hat to match. Then I have received another hat from someone out of Chicago, and I don't know these people out of Chicago, and a lovely shawl. And then there's a company also in New Hampshire that they're sending me a hat that they made especially for me. In fact, I'm expecting it to be at the post office today or tomorrow.
Ooh, let's
And then
go.
there's been another catalog company that is sending me a purple suit and a gold hat to match. And then I've gotten jewelry and other things, and people are just sending me cards saying how they have been inspired by my story. And I have been really humbled by what one story was able to generate throughout the United States and beyond. It has been unbelievable. Also, I know I should have kept a accounting of it, but I didn't. But I would say, at this point, after about 3 weeks, I've had about 1,000 requests for people wanting to be my friends on Facebook.
Oh,
And unfortunately, since I don't know them, I've had to just delete them because I don't have a clue as to who they are. But
yeah,
it's
that's
just amazing the amount of emphasis that this story has had on my life and in the lives of others around the world.
fascinating. Oh my gosh. I guess it really is an example of you never know where something can lead. I mean, it's, those beautiful outfits that you have and those beautiful hats, to think that the first hat you bought led you to this place. It's fascinating.
Absolutely. And then I also remembered at the time when I first started, and I had mentioned it earlier on one of my other interviews, we used to sing a song in Sunday school called Brighten the Corner Where You Are. And so this was my way of brightening not only my corner, but corners where the others were as well.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah. Mhm.
well, Laverne, where do you see yourself now moving forward?
Well, I'm trying to come up with something, and I haven't decided yet what that's going to be, because I did tell them on March the 21st, that was the 52nd Sunday, that I was going to discontinue the postings on Sunday, because I know that eventually we're going to be going back to church soon. I am the chairwoman of my board of trustees at church, and I know what the
Oh,
reopening plan is. So
okay.
I know that the 1st of May or the middle of May, we're going to be going back to church. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing as far as Facebook is concerned. I'll have to come up with something, but I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Well, you'll have people wanting to join the church, and they want to sit
Right.
right where you sit, right? Section 2, or where do you sit? I remember the
I'm on the back row in section 2.
Oh, there we go. I'm gonna go see you, Laverne. Sing me a spot.
Right.
I don't have a hat though. I have to borrow one of yours.
Oh, anytime, anytime. Oh,
But no, I'm very, very excited for you, and especially because there's meaning behind all of this. There's substance. It's not just the clothes,
right.
right? And it's bringing out the word and sharing with others.
Yeah, see, and I have been reminded of when I was in high school, my high school commencement speaker spoke from who knoweth whether thou was brought to the kingdom for such a time as this. So I don't know. I keep wondering, why am I getting so much attention about these hats and everything? But I thought,
Yes.
well, maybe I'll just stop worrying about it, because who knows why I was given to do this for such a time as this, and what it's going to do for others. So I'm just going to, as one person said, just take it in stride and just be happy about it and move on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Laverne, it's been such a pleasure, and I have to ask you this, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing. What are your words of wisdom that you want to share? Let's do, first of all, with teachers. There's many teachers out there. They've had obviously challenging times this past year. What are your words of wisdom and advice to them? What would you say to them?
Well, of course, the greatest, and it's something by Nelson Mandela, that the greatest glory in living lies not in never failing, but in being able to rise every time you fall. And then what I would tell the students, and I always told them this when I was in the classroom, when I was a principal and all, give to yourself the best that you can, and the best will come back to you.
Wow. Bravo. Bravo. Strong. And those words are powerful, and a lot of people need to hear that. Yes.
Yes, and just keep getting up every time, because nothing is guaranteed, but that you are in control of your happiness and your joy. And so it has to come from within.
Wow. So is that you when you get up in the morning, Laverne, is that's
That's
your
it. I
vitamin?
am responsible. Yes, and I don't depend on anyone else, although, I nurture and I am in support of people who are supportive of me, but
Yes.
I know that a lot has to start with me, and I get up with a positive attitude every morning. Just the idea that I was able to get up gives me joy and pleasure. So I just go from there.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh, Laverne, I wish I could talk to you for like the whole day because
Well, you can call me anytime.
I would love to. Anything you would want to share with us?
Well, I did mention that I was the chair of the board of trustees at my church, but I'm also the chair. We have a center that's called the Greenwood Cultural Center. And I'm not sure how much you are aware of the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1921 and Greenwood being called Black Wall Street. Well, this center is right on Greenwood, and and I'm the chair of that board of directors. And we are in the process of getting ready to renovate. And of course, we're going to be having the commemoration of the race riot or the race massacre, the end of May and the 1st of June. So I'll be a big part of that going on. So I have my work cut out for me as well with that. I still am very active on the Tulsa City County Library Commission. I'm vice chair of that.
Oh, wow.
Then my high school, who named their library and media center after me, I'm on that distinguished Hall of Fame board as well as vice chair, and also on another foundation with the school. So I'm trying to keep actively engaged because I want the students coming up to know that because you're a certain age, it doesn't mean that you have to stop. There's something always to be done to give back to your community. So I'm trying to set myself up as an example to be a positive influence for those youngsters who are about to graduate from high school and not knowing what they want to do, but seeing that you can continue to offer something to your community if you just set your mind to it.
For you and all your accomplishments. I wish you well, and I see all your awards behind you. Are those all your awards?
Oh, that's just a small replica. You should see my utility room, but the wall is full in the utility room.
Yes. Bravo. Love it. You need to post that on Facebook too and be like, see, you can, all that work that you put in. Well, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything I can do to help teachers or administrators to be an influence with the youngsters in school, I'm all for it. In fact, I just received a call yesterday from some student in Arizona State, and she's doing some kind of paper, and she wants to talk to me and want to know if it'd be okay. I said, sure. As long as you're doing something honorable and can help students, I'll do what I can. Yeah.
We definitely, I mean, education, as you know, is having many challenges, and these teachers need to be, elevated and
absolutely. Yes.
And I think it just doesn't happen very often. So it's an honor to have someone that like you in education that gets us and understands that it is an important profession.
Yeah, and you need support. Teachers need support.
They do, and a little extra pay, maybe a little more money.
I know, and it's a tough job out there, and so they need support. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But so much for joining us here on
okay, well, email me a copy of your newsletter or whatever you're doing so I can keep up with you and see what's going on with you.
Definitely. And I'm going to give a shout out to your church, the Metropolitan Baptist Church, because they've got a true fashion gem right there. They better put cushions and nice things on that pew for you, because you're VIP pew.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes.
So we'll get a little shout out there. Have it ready when Laverne shows to church.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So,
okay. It's been great.
Thank you so much. And all the best, Laverne, and everything.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Sure.